What is up? We are live. Welcome to Daily Dose of Awesome, your life 15 minutes of daily motivation, inspiration, and education so you can get your day started right. Today's topic is on the right mindset for advertising, and it's going to be brought to you by my man right here, Matt Baran. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, Ferny, how's it going today?
Good, good, buddy. So Matt's our chief traffic honcho here at Elite Marketing Pro, literally running the majority of our ads here. I occasionally, meddle with his stuff, but that's just because I can't help myself. Uh, but but Matt's primarily responsible for all our paid advertising lead generation that we do here at EMP, and he's gonna share some insights on how to actually approach advertising. Essentially, advertise like you mean it, as opposed to dipping your toe in the water, which is I think what he's going to cover, but we'll see. So my name is Ferny Ceballos. I'm a lead generation online marketing expert specializing in helping home business owners, that's network marketers, affiliate marketers, and direct sellers, multiply their incomes using the internet. Now, I built my first six-figure network marketing business within a couple of years of discovering the information we teach here at Elite Marketing Pro. And over the past 10 years, I've been responsible for over $11 million in gross income into my home businesses and have literally helped our clients produce hundreds of millions of dollars in their businesses over the past 10 years. So this stuff really works, not only in our businesses, but in those of our clients and network marketers and online marketers across the industry. So if you're new to our training, a couple of things. One, we are in the middle of our Black Friday, special charity event. And what that is essentially is we've asked a top leader in the network marketing space to conduct a social media recruiting training this Friday on Black Friday. So instead of going out and battling the masses at the stores, we're inviting you to help to add value to yourself and your business, and at the same time contribute to a great cause and help fight hunger across the world. So Julie Burke, a multiple six-figure producer in the network marketing space, who built 80% of her organization using purely social media, will be doing a training this Friday. The training is going to be $97, and 40% of the proceeds will go to charity. Heifer International, who work in the third world nations with micro lending, and also just simply to provide them resources so they can survive and thrive. And so that's what we'll be doing. And so I highly recommend you go to the link in the description where it talks about social media recruiting. If you want to actively prospect to build your network marketing business, that's how you do it. That's what she's teaching. What we're going to talk about today actually is about passively recruiting, passive prospecting. So there's a difference between passive marketing and active prospecting. Active prospecting is kind of like what you would do normally in public or with your friends, your family, etc. Well, there's a way to do it in social media, but it's still active. It still takes up your time. Matt Baran here is a master at doing passive marketing, meaning putting posts and ads on Facebook and having the leads and prospects roll in on autopilot into some marketing system. So also there's a link in the description that'll show you that as well. So you actually have an opportunity to learn both about passive prospecting and active prospecting as well. So those two links are in the description. I highly recommend you subscribe to our passive marketing bootcamp, and that'll show you how you set up these type of systems for online recruiting, even while you sleep or out with friends and family. Now, if you're new to our broadcast, I highly recommend you subscribe because we do these lives every single day, Monday through Friday. We deliver tons of value. So if you're watching this on mobile, in the top right corner, click on the top right corner of the video, and a little ellipsis symbol will show up. Click on that. It'll open up a menu where you can like our fan page, and also you're able to turn on notifications for these live posts, so you'll get a little ping on your phone every time we go live. And so you'll either be able to join us live or watch the recording later if you're unable to join us. But hey, this is how we deliver our best training. You'll also, by doing that, unlock just a massive library of training on various topics related to network marketing and online prospecting and recruiting. So go do that right now. Also, if you're watching this on desktop, you'll simply just need to click on the logo right above the description of this video. That'll take you to our fan page. Click like, and on that same like button, you'll be able to turn on notifications through a pull-down menu. And make sure you get notified every time we go live and deliver one of these trainings. We'd love to interact with you live, as we'll be doing today. So, with that said, what is up, Matt? What kind of goodies you got for us?
Hey, buddy. Today I want to talk a little bit about the right mindset that you need to have when it comes to paid advertising for your business. As Ferny alluded to, I work for EMP. Run the majority of the traffic for them. We spend lots and lots and lots of money on campaigns, and I've had the good fortune of being able to, be able to see data from those campaigns and be able to really just scale at a very, very high rate our paid traffic and get more leads, more customers, bringing more business for Elite Marketing Pro. But I wasn't always like that. It wasn't always like that for me myself personally. Before I was working for EMP, and we go back, close to 4 years now. I was just starting out myself with, advertising Elite Marketing Pro as an affiliate and just starting out on Facebook, trying to advertise on Facebook. And when I first started, I remember I had run some campaigns. I had spent some money, maybe 20, $50, and I didn't get results right away. I had gotten some leads here and there. I believe maybe I'd gotten a sale, but it definitely was not a profitable campaign. And because of that, I became very emotional. I was very emotionally tied to that money I lost. And I had thought I became, this didn't work is what I told myself. Because of that, I became really scared to invest in my business for a while. And essentially, I had a very toxic mindset when it came to paid traffic. And I want to use another term for it too, and that I know you're all familiar with, but you might not think of it like that. Essentially, it's advertising. And it's important to know that if you're on this, you've got a small business of some sort. You're an entrepreneur. You're essentially a small business owner. And what do small businesses do when they want more customers? They advertise. So small brick and mortar business, before the invention of Facebook came out, before online advertising, they would do traditional methods like newspaper, radio, magazines, billboard, all of which cost a lot of money, which are probably all and still out of the realm of possibility for the small solopreneur, network marketer, internet marketer out there, except for the very few that have large advertising budgets. So we're all very lucky to be at an age where it's still very affordable to advertise online. And in fact, most small businesses, most brick and mortar businesses still haven't even figured out the power of advertising in Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest. So if you have a small business, reaching out to your potential customers, getting leads, it's really still never been cheaper at this point. But with that said, what's the issue for you, the solopreneur, the network marketer, the internet marketer? There doesn't go by a day where I don't see somebody in, not necessarily the EMP Facebook group, because we're all most of us are very positive-minded people. But in a number of other online Facebook groups, and I see people complaining about, their results on Facebook. For example, they spent $20 on an ad. They might have gotten 2 leads and no sales. They complain this doesn't work, this system, this product doesn't work, this is all a scam. And the frustration comes from having the right mindset when it comes to paid traffic, or essentially paid advertising is essentially what it is. And you need to have the mindset of an actual small business. So first of all, you need to understand this isn't a lottery. And yes, the overall idea is to eventually produce that magic slot machine or magic vending machine or whatever you want to call it, where you can put in $1 of advertising and get $2 back. But you need to understand it takes some time and some work to get there. Now, anyone that has ever built a successful business off of paid traffic has always lost money up front. And it's rare, even for somebody like me that's run thousands upon thousands of dollars, essentially a buttload of traffic for Elite Marketing Pro, it's rare that I'm ever profitable right off the bat with a ad. And yes, it is absolutely possible to hit it out of the park right away, but it's extremely rare when that happens. So with that said, a true entrepreneur and a true business owner will understand that paid traffic is going to be it's an investment in your business. Okay, you need to spend money up front and collect data to find out what has worked and what hasn't worked. And if you go in thinking that you're going to spend $50 and make $1,000 right away, I'm here to tell you that it's probably not going to happen. That's what you call the lottery mindset. Um, and again, eventually it can get there. And at the end of the day, once you consider things like upsells and other offers and the lifetime value of a customer, yes, that can something like that can absolutely happen. It's not a lie, but right off the bat, it's not something you should expect. You need to go in with the mindset that you're spending that $50 to essentially buy data to figure out what doesn't work and what about that has worked and optimize more of what you're doing that is actually working and to get more of those results that are working. So if you're lost, you're frustrated, you don't know where to go, you need to start by focusing on the basics. So there was a daily dose of awesome I did. Sorry about that. Something in my eye. I did about a month ago, and where I go over the metrics that you need to pay attention to for paid traffic. And in that daily dose of awesome, I basically explained the hierarchy of your traffic campaign, where you start out at your end goal is a sale, but in order to get a sale, you've got to get a lead first. You've got to get somebody that opts in and says, I'm interested in what you have to sell. In order to get a lead, you have to get an eyeball on your offer, which is essentially a click. Somebody seeing your ad and clicking through to your sales page to become your lead to be eventually buy from you. And if you're not getting sales, it's probably because your lead flow is too low. And it's also likely because your leads are too expensive. So, you want to go back to the very basics and write down the fact you want to do with the clicks, because the cheaper cost per click you're going to get, which is the very basic metric that you can start with when running paid advertising, the cheaper cost per click you can get, that means you're going to get more eyeballs on your capture page or your sales page or whatever it is that it takes for them to become a lead. And that means you're going to get more leads that way. And then eventually the more leads you get, the more chances you're going to have for somebody to buy your offer. But none of that's going to matter until you get more clicks. And so really at the end of the day, if you're stuck and you don't know where to go, you want to focus on that cost per click and getting that down as cheap as possible. So, don't worry until you can start getting cheaper clicks. Don't worry about your leads and getting sales. Start with the very basics and then work up from there. And also you need to remember that you're advertising to cold traffic too. So unless you've been doing this for a while, and I know probably 95% of you on here, you're probably not retargeting when it means the majority. So what that means is the majority of the eyeballs that are seeing your offer are seeing it for the first time. And you have to remember. People used to say, well, it takes an average of 5 to 7 times for people to see your offer before they buy, or for people to see you before they buy. And I think it's getting even higher now. Somebody had recently mentioned, I think it was Russell Brunson had mentioned, it's more like 12 times somebody needs to be exposed to your offer before they buy. So you got to remember right off the bat. You're dealing with cold traffic where they don't know who you are just yet. So you can't expect they're going to jump into your offer just right away and just buy. You have to work on them a little bit. Get them to be a lead. Get them more interested. And let those leads work through our system. Let them, get them to be more familiar with Elite Marketing Pro, and you'll start to see them convert along the way. Next up, tracking your ads. You must track your ads. And I'm guaranteed, I'm one of the few people out there that keep an advertising journal where, what I do is I use Evernote. You know what I put in that journal? For every campaign that I run for Elite Marketing Pro, I record the reach, clicks, leads, sales, relevance score, click-through rate, cost per click, cost per lead, cost per sale, total profit and loss for an ad. I pulled an actual screenshot of the ad up and I paste it in my traffic journal. Then on top of that, once it's done running or once I have enough data, I write down my thoughts about the ad, why I thought the ad worked, maybe why I thought it bombed, and finally I come up with a plan of action on what I'm going to do with that ad. And what I could do differently. And that really goes back, I have to give a nod to Tim Irway, one of my longtime mentors. He's really taught me what to do when you get stuck with a traffic campaign. Take a look at the data that you've already gotten and what you've already done. What can you do differently to improve it? So maybe switch audiences, maybe put in some new copy, try a new image. and maybe try a lookalike audience, or maybe at the end of the day, if it's not working and you just don't, you just see it didn't work, maybe it's time to just scrap that ad altogether. And finally, one thing I want to, I think that's really important when adopting a successful mindset for paid advertising is something I got from Gary Vaynerchuk, of all people. And it was something I picked up from a video session he did with a small group that I saw on YouTube. And the idea that I picked up and I applied it to paid traffic, and that's part of the reason, my results really took off. And that is, don't focus necessarily on playing defense. Focus on scoring as many points as possible. And you're like, well, how does that apply to paid traffic? So here's what I mean. Let's say you run 5 campaigns, you spend $100 each. 3 of them fail, you make no money on whatsoever, and 2 of them succeed. The 3 that failed, you lost $300. The 2 that succeeded, you made $100 each. So essentially, after all is said is done, you're $100 in the hole from where you started. Now, the majority of people that are new to running traffic are going to look at that and say, man, I lost $100. This doesn't work. I failed. The sky is falling. The puppies and kittens are dying, and life sucks. On the other hand, I take a look at that and I get really freaking excited. And you know why? Because now I've got 2 profitable campaigns that I can keep going with these suckers and really start to scale them, because I know something's working, so I can explore those a lot more. And you know what? I may be $100 down at first, but I know the deeper I dig and the more profitable, the more profitable I'm going to get with those campaigns, because I know that there's a lot of potential to have with those. But that wouldn't happen if I took a look at those initial results and I decided, man, I lost $100. This just doesn't work at all. And so that's really what I want you to focus on, is those positive things that happen. Scoring as many of those points as you possibly can, or those simple base hits. They might not hit it out of the park, but don't focus necessarily on those failures that you have. Just keep getting as many base hits as you can, because if you focus on those, you're eventually going to score more points than you are going to have points scored against you. So focus on the positive, the points, instead of playing defense all the time. So with that said, here are the takeaways I have from this particular session. A, this isn't a lottery. You're a business owner. Start thinking like one if you don't already. Paid ads are investment in your business. Buy data to figure out what works and what doesn't. Focus on the basics. If you're frustrated, you're not getting results, go back down to the basics and start with getting your cost per click down. Remember, you're working with cold traffic. It takes time to build a relationship with that customer. Also, track your ads. I use Evernote and keep a traffic journal for every ad that I run. Think about it. You spend $50 on an advertisement. If you're not keeping track of your data, then what did you get from it? You just basically threw $50 out the window. So keep track of all your data. Find something that works for you. I use Evernote, Google Docs too. If you want, keep a handwritten journal. I don't care. Spreadsheets, great. And then also, don't focus on playing defense all the time when it comes to advertising. Focus on scoring as many possible points as you can and scaling up from there. And with that said, Ferny, I am done.
All right, dude. So some questions came in real quick that I think we can answer. Cynthia asked, how long should I keep an ad going? Well, if you're trying to figure out if it's going to work or not, if the data is reliable, then you need to have at least a reach of 3,000 in order to kind of say whether the data is good or not. Because what the mistake sometimes that people make is that they start looking at the data right away after like a couple of impressions, and it's just totally unreliable. You need to allow the data to settle, and that'll take about 3,000 reach. Somebody be asked about not knowing where, they're running a couple ads, not knowing which ads are running, are producing the results, because they're getting results. And so you need to either have some sort of sub-IDs if you're using our system, or some other tracking, service. Matt, do you recommend any basic level tracking if people have their own website? What do you recommend?
Yeah, so one thing you can use is the Facebook Pixel, and it's gotten actually a lot easier to install and use right now. And that but you will have to always remember that no tracking system is going to be perfect. So just because your back office may say one thing as far as leads and sales go, and Facebook will probably always usually tell you got a little bit more than that, maybe like 15 to 20% more. So it's not going to be perfect. You're always going to have some ambiguity in there as far as that concerned. With that said, here's one thing I do recommend if you're first starting out. What you can do, if you don't have a large ad budget, I would run one ad at a time, or one ad per, let's say if you're running blog posts, I would run ad per blog post per audience. So let's say you're advertising the five yeah, network marketing, I can't, internet recruiting thing, I can't remember the blog post name now, but to Eric Worre's audience. Focus on, you can see what leads in your back office, you can see where the leads are coming in and from what blog posts they're coming in. You know, if say you spend 20 bucks per day, go back into your back office and look and see how many leads came in per that day. And you can track exactly, okay, I spent 20 bucks, I got 4 leads. That's $5 a lead I'm getting per day. Then you can go in, you can see how many clicks you've gotten, you can see how many sales you've gotten per day. So if you're at the very basic and you're not ready to get into tracking yet, I would start by just doing that, because you can tell where all your leads came from in the back office by what pages they're going on. It'll tell you exactly what page and what capture page they came from. As far as more important, bigger tracking solutions, start working with the Facebook pixel if you've got your own blog or your own website. Again, it won't be perfect. No tracking system is ever perfect. There's always ambiguities in there, but it is a way to be able to see that. And if you're really, really, really technical, you can use the Google Tag Manager to do that as well, though I don't necessarily recommend it unless you've been running paid traffic for a while.
Yeah, and I want to add a little bit to what you said earlier about your paying for data. So I was at a master. So as people know that have been in the EMP community, I was at a mastermind with Keith Cunningham this past week. And so Keith Cunningham is Rich Dad, and he had a lot of really some mega entrepreneurs there. There was this one guy from a big insurance brokerage company in the UK. I mean, this is $100 million plus company, and he's actually his forte, even though he's the owner of the company, and his forte is actually sales and marketing, and he has extensive experience marketing and advertising in through multiple channels. I mean, it's crazy what he does. Everything we do with in terms of Twitter, Facebook, um, Instagram, Google pay per click, other forms of pay per click, banner advertising. The list goes. Email marketing. List goes on, and I actually got to look at his metrics. And one of the key things he said, because it's like he's running $1 million budgets per month, and obviously we're not doing that yet. And so one of the fears, even with us, is like, wow, I mean, we're afraid to like scale too fast because we might spend too much money and lose control of what we're doing. And he brought me back to exactly what you said. It's like you're paying for data. So set a advertising budget that you can afford, that with money that you don't mind parting with, and know that with that money, what you're paying for is you're paying for data that's going to help you optimize. And he gave me the exact same answers we usually give our people, and so we have a lot to learn from just ourselves in that way, because we want to expand and grow to other channels, which this gentleman's going to help us do in the future. But that's essentially, don't be afraid to part with the money. And if you're spending money that you don't have, in other words, if you expect a return so you can eat, then you you probably want to hold off on that, and maybe do some social media recruiting or something.
Yeah.
But you definitely don't want to gamble with money you can't afford to lose. I recommend having a budget that you can afford to part with, and think of that money that you're spending as part of your tuition to learn all this stuff. That's your tuition money, and at some point that tuition money is going to have a return, and it's going to be sooner. It could be sooner rather than later. So the first $1,000 I ever spent on advertising, I made $100. So obviously I lost 900, and that's because I didn't bother to just take it seriously academically. I didn't study the advertising platform, and I just didn't. I was just kind of playing the lottery. And fortunately, the next few times that I did it, I spent $30. I made $300, and that's after I took it seriously, got the education, and those $30 that I spent it with, I didn't mind parting with that money. I was no longer emotionally attached, and that makes a difference, because it clears your mind and allows you to think more seriously about your ads.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just listening to a podcast the other day from this guy that had built, a $10 million business on Amazon, and basically every time he does a new product, they spend $20,000 on Facebook ads to just buy data and find out what works. They don't care if they make money with it or not, and they always lose money with it. But he's like, that's the price of entry, and once we do that, we can get things profitable and then make, $3 for every dollar that we spend on advertising. But you've got to be willing to put that money out first, and it's all in the mindset. It really is. And look, I get it. Like if you want to make money online, it sucks to spend $50 and not have a return. But I hate to break it to you, those days of just plopping down a 20 and hoping to get $100 commission are, they're fading very fast.
Awesome, man. Well, that's it for today. That's our daily dose of awesome. Again, we talked about passive marketing. There's a link in the description about passive marketing. There's actually a free course that we give away. And if you want to learn active prospecting actually through social media, that'll actually give you a more immediate return because you're actually prospecting one on one. But fortunately, doing it from behind your computer. If you want to learn the right way of doing that, the link in the description. Not only will you be going through a 2 hour plus training with multiple six-figure earner, where 80% of her team was recruited through social media, you'll also be contributing to a great cause in Heifer International and helping us help people in the third world transform their lives. And that's not a small thing. So help yourself and help others around the world. I think that's the best way to do things. So that's it for today, guys. Take care. Have an awesome day. We will see you tomorrow. We will not have a daily dose of awesome for Thanksgiving. Or the day after Thanksgiving on Black Friday because we'll have our training, but we will have one tomorrow. So join us for I think we have Kate McShay tomorrow, so that'll be fun. Take care, everybody.